Chasney and I'm in fifth grade. Hi, I'm Olivia and I'm in second grade.
Thank you, girls, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
All right, so I know you guys have a couple of questions for me. So who wants to start?
I'll start. So, how did you know that you wanted to design clothes or be a fashion designer?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't always know I wanted to go into fashion designing. I kind of fell into it. It was back in 2013. This is like, I guess, 9 years ago when I wanted to create a fashion line that was African inspired. So I wanted something that would showcase my roots, which is being from Nigeria. So I wanted to display modern style clothing with like the prints and helping people like myself better connect with their roots. So I didn't always want to be a fashion designer. My background was actually in business and marketing. And then I had to learn about creating a fashion line when I decided to launch dee-ya-nu. So
What was the first piece of clothing you ever made?
great question. So when I first launched dee-ya-nu back in 2014, we launched with 6 styles for women. And the first 6 styles were 3 types of dresses and no, 2 styles of dresses, 3 styles of skirts, and a blouse. So so we launched with like those 6 styles, and from there we've branched out, and we now make stuff for kids, t-shirts like the ones you guys are wearing, um, stuff for men, and just a wide variety of things. So we've really grown from the initial 6 styles that was created.
Okay. So, what does a typical day at the office look like?
Ooh, well, I feel like there may be no typical day, or there are similarities to like a day in the life of, I guess, fashion CEO. And so I oversee quite a bit with Diani. I'm like the head of design. So we're always, creating new collections. So let's say in the morning, I could start off with a meeting with the design team. And that's when we're looking at different sketches. We're looking at different fabric prints. So we're selecting what we want for the next collection. And right now, we're actually working on our pre-fall. Well, we just concluded pre-fall. We're working on fall next. And let's see. So a meeting. So I have like meetings. It could be even going out to like the warehouse to see how our teams are like packing and shipping orders. But my days do tend to vary a little bit. But it's yeah, like I have a handle on in so many different parts of the business that it tends to be really meeting heavy a lot of times.
For the name.
Great question. So dee-ya-nu is a combination of French and my native language Yoruba, which is a language in from Nigeria. And the D apostrophe is of or from, and then the Iyanu is wonderful or miracle, and it also happens to be my middle name, Iyanu.
If you were on an island, like stranded on an island, what were 3 things that you would bring with you?
Oh, one of those questions. Okay, so funny enough, I would definitely want my phone. Would it work though? Let's not think about that. Like, let's say assume it works. I would want my phone. I would want I would want my husband. I guess I should probably have him on board, right? So let's say my phone, my husband, and I love water, drinking water, that is.
What's the most fun thing you did as a child?
Oh, all right. So as a child, I really loved, let's see, I love riding bikes. I loved like roller skating. Um, I remember I wanted to be like an ice skater growing up, but I only had roller skates, so I would pretend to be an ice skater with my roller skates in the basement and like um, try to do like all the different turns and the different elements that ice skaters do. But yeah, I didn't become an ice skater though, obviously.
Okay. Do you have any advice for females wanting to start a clothing design business?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, starting a line can be really challenging, but you just need to figure out what style of clothing or like who you're designing for, like what their needs are, and being able to create um, things that they want. And that just involves like kind of like search or researching like your audience, because what made it easier I think for Diona to take off was because a lot of people were already interested in African print fashion, and they were just looking for the opportunity to find uh, to easily access the clothing online. So it's just about like it was just about presenting them the options. So it made my life a little easier just because the audience for African inspired fashion already existed. So people really wanted this type of clothing. So making sure like if you have a style of clothing that you know people already are interested in, it will make it easier to get started instead of trying to create um, a desire for your clothing. So just know your audience basically when you're starting a clothing line.
Okay, what's your favorite trip that you ever went on?
My favorite trip?
Yeah.
Oh, these are great questions. I guess most recently my favorite trip was from last year when I went to Jamaica with my husband. We just had so much fun. Jamaicans are so hospitable. They're so nice. It was just like we had like an all-inclusive resort, so you didn't have to worry about anything. We had so many different like adventures. We did like we went on this like adventure park where you could do like waterfall. You can see waterfalls. You can also like jump off of like cliffs, and it sounds scary, but we did a few jumps. Some we had to say no to some like the higher cliffs, but we did do some jumps. And then we also did like a river tubing. So you're like in the tube and you're like kind of drifting down the river. We did zip lining where you're hanging on and then like you're flying through the trees. We did some like dune buggies where you're like racing with like these like four-wheelers. So we did so many things and it was so much fun. And that was right before, you know, coronavirus hit. So we got a little trip in before everything went south where you couldn't travel anymore. So that was a lot of fun. So I think that was like one of the one of my favorite trips recently. You have one more?
Okay, so my one is what's it like being a black female entrepreneur?
Oh, that's a great question. How do you guys come up with these questions? These are like really good questions. I'm super impressed. Um, what does it feel like being a Black female entrepreneur? I feel really proud because I know there are so few um, female entrepreneurs. I mean, there are more and more now, thankfully, but to be able to pursue like my dreams and actually succeed is such a blessing. Like I feel so blessed to be able to do what I want with like my own clothing line. Um, and then I just feel like it's also an opportunity for people who are younger, who are up and coming like yourselves, to see people like me who are doing being successful as a Black female entrepreneur, because representation is important, it's important for young girls to see um, female leaders so they can also believe they can also become leaders when they grow up. So I really see it as an amazing platform to inspire, younger people, even people my age who are thinking about doing business, and for them to realize it is possible. If I can do it, certainly anyone else can do it. It's not that, I am extraordinary. It's like you too are extraordinary. You too can be a female leader and own your own business as well. And I see her. So yeah, you too can do it too, girlfriend. But yeah, I think it's been a blessing. It's been a great opportunity.
Ooh. She already answered this one.
Okay.
Good job.
You guys are amazing. I love your questions.